If you have been researching peptide protocols for anti-aging tissue repair or fat loss, the 2026 longevity science community is generating significant discussion around a biological bottleneck that the majority of peptide content completely overlooks. The peptides themselves are not the problem. The cellular environment they are being delivered to is. And until you address what is happening at the inner mitochondrial membrane, no peptide protocol will deliver the results the research behind it promises. Peptides are biological messengers, short chains of amino acids that carry specific instructions to cells. Different peptides carry different commands. Some signal tissue repair, some signal fat mobilization, some signal cellular regeneration. The research supporting specific peptide compounds is real, and the mechanisms are well documented in peer-reviewed literature. The peptide delivers the command, the cell is supposed to execute it. Here is the cellular reality that the 2026 clinical research is bringing into sharp focus. Executing a peptide command is not a passive process. When a peptide signals a cell to repair damaged tissue, synthesize new structural proteins, mobilize stored fat, or regenerate cellular components, that execution requires an immediate and substantial surge of cellular ATP energy. The command arrives. The biological work of carrying it out requires the cell's energy production systems to respond rapidly and at high output. And those energy production systems are powered entirely by the mitochondria, specifically by the electron transport chain operating along the inner mitochondrial membrane. The inner mitochondrial membrane is one of the most metabolically critical and most vulnerable structures in the human cell. It is the biological surface along which the electron transport chain operates, the molecular assembly line that converts nutrients into the ATP your cells use to power every biological function, including the execution of healing and repair commands. The integrity of this membrane determines how efficiently your mitochondria can produce ATP under demand. A structural lipid called cardiolipin is essential to that integrity. Cardiolipin is found almost exclusively in the inner mitochondrial membrane, and it serves as a critical architectural component that maintains the precise curvature and structural organization the electron transport chain complexes require to function efficiently. Think of cardiolipin as the scaffolding that holds the ATP production assembly line in its correct configuration. In aging cells and cells under chronic oxidative stress, cardiolipin undergoes progressive oxidative damage. As cardiolipin degrades, the inner mitochondrial membrane loses its structural integrity. The electron transport chain complexes lose their optimal configuration. The efficiency of ATP production drops dramatically, and when a peptide signal arrives commanding the cell to perform energy-intensive repair work, the cell simply cannot generate the ATP surge required to answer it. The peptide command bounces off a cell that lacks the electrical power to execute it. This is the cardiolipin collapse problem that the most advanced voices in 2026 longevity medicine are beginning to address directly. It explains why people investing in sophisticated peptide protocols sometimes experience frustratingly partial results, particularly older adults whose cardiolipin has been progressively depleted through decades of oxidative stress. The cellular messenger system is working correctly. The commands are being sent, but the power grid required to execute those commands has collapsed at the inner membrane level. CoQ10 addresses this directly and specifically. As a fat-soluble antioxidant that integrates into the inner mitochondrial membrane, CoQ10 operates at the exact location where cardiolipin degradation occurs. When CoQ10 is present at adequate concentrations in the inner membrane, it neutralizes the reactive oxygen species responsible for cardiolipin oxidation, protecting the structural integrity of the membrane and maintaining the electron transport chain configuration that efficient ATP production requires. It is a direct protective intervention at the precise site of the cellular power grid failure. PQQ triggers mitochondrial biogenesis through the PGC1 alpha pathway, growing new mitochondria with intact inner membranes and healthy cardiolipin content that have not yet experienced the oxidative degradation accumulating in aging mitochondria. New mitochondria built through biogenesis start with structurally sound inner membranes. They can generate ATP at the high output rates that demanding cellular commands require. When a healing or fat-mobilizing signal arrives, those fresh mitochondria have the power infrastructure to answer it fully. Mitolyn combines CoQ10 and PQQ in one formula, built around this inner mitochondrial membrane protection and renewal principle. It is not a peptide. It is the cellular power foundation that determines whether any advanced health protocol, peptide or otherwise, can actually deliver on the biological commands it sends. Fix the power grid first, and every healing signal your body sends or receives finally gets the energy it needs to execute completely. I want to be fully transparent with you. The link in my description is an affiliate link. I might earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. I only share what I genuinely think is helpful. Fix the cell first. Check the link in my description for the 2026 Mitolyn Cellular Power Protocol. And if you want cutting-edge cellular health content every single day, hit subscribe. We post every morning. This video is for educational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before making changes to your diet or lifestyle.